The question is Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wasn't sure who was going to take the next call, and I certainly think that the previous Speaker, the Honourable Judith Collins, who was a very welcome addition to the Commerce Select Committee, is vying tonight to be for the award for the twinkle in Parliament's eye, or to be the Parliamentary Christmas Fairy.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, on that note, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and yourself, Mr. Speaker, and do hope that we all do have a good break. I think we all need it. It's been a long year. And thank you to the messengers and all of the people who work around Parliament and make Parliament work for us in the background. Thank you so much for your good humour and your steadfast support to us all. I don't want to relitigate what's been said in this scintillating debate on this extremely important piece of legislation, which is the last piece of legislation going through in 2014, other than to say that as one of the, I think the only one of two members who actually were on the Select Committee who have spoken in the debate tonight, that it wasn't a hugely controversial bill. There were 4 submissions and I think it was reasonably straightforward in terms of the small changes that were made during the Select Committee process and have been recommended back to the House. I would like to make a couple of comments though, because what preceded that Select Committee process with the submissions was actually another process which actually was a discussion document that was put out by MB in which there were a number of other submissions that actually, 15 I think, that actually were given, and there were much more in-depth discussion that resulted from that. And through that I think the general point that was made, and which is why we've got this bill before the House, is that the actual cost of the ticket contract requirement, which is requiring for this amendment to come before us, is actually increasing to a point, and if the House can see this, that is going right up, and the current appropriation of $3 million to cover that cost is just simply not enough, and we're currently at around here, and it's going up to around $10 to $12 million. So we've got to be able to find a way to, if we're going to meet our international treaty obligations, to actually do that. It was thought about whether there should be a storage facility built, and so that we could actually keep that fuel on shore, which I think a couple of my colleagues in the Greens and New Zealand First were arguing for. That was determined to be too expensive, and that's why we're looking at this expanded levy arrangement, which does result in a cost to taxpayers, and I think that let's all acknowledge that. But the regulatory impact statement, Mr. Speaker, actually puts that cost as being at 0.113 cents per litre. I don't know about the other costs that have been mentioned tonight, and I think in the committee stage, when we do get to the committee stage, it would be good to have the Minister to clarify that. That equates to around 4.5 cents per 40 litre for a tank of fuel. 4.5 cents. So I guess we've got to put that in context, and I think the New Zealand First representative who spoke who wasn't on the Select Committee, could actually, would be worth thinking about that and thinking about what the impact of that actually is on the consumer. I think we do need to get some assurance from the Minister in the committee stage that there will be close monitoring of this, and that there's not going to be further costs passed on to consumers, because I think that's pretty important. I also think that there's been a huge opportunity missed through this bill, as usual, by this government, which is more obsessed with presiding over the dirtiest, filthiest, grubbiest, vilest operations we've ever seen in New Zealand politics. Instead, they could have actually come up with a strategy for sustainability and looking where we're going in terms of fuel use and moving beyond oil in terms of sustainable fuel and looking at biofuels and what we can be doing in that space. Where is the economic development strategy that sits behind this bill? There simply isn't one. As usual, it's a piecemeal, small piece of legislation that doesn't fit into a wider strategy. Labor supports it because it's sensible, it's our obligations for an international treaty, it's not a huge impost on consumers, but it's small-minded, it doesn't fit into a bigger picture. There is no economic development, ongoing strategy around sustainable fuel and around how New Zealand could actually be using this as an opportunity for economic development. I think that's a great pity. It's a missed opportunity. Look forward to the committee stage and questioning the Minister on some of those issues, and just reiterate best wishes to everyone for Christmas. Make sure you have a good break and have a safe break, and we'll come back in fighting in 2015.